If you're seeing this, then this is your Tarot Tuesday message. My name is Lara. Welcome to the reading. This message is for the week of Tuesday, November 11th, 11/11. And that's going to take us through to the next 7 days. We're going to use our oracle cards, our tarot cards, and we're going to see what is coming up for us in the next 7 days. A lot has been happening, and to be honest, there was a whole Tarot Tuesday and full moon in Taurus that I missed posting about last week, not because I didn't make the videos, but because of technical issues. And I couldn't post because Uranus conjuncting whatever was happening. And then there was the full moon in Taurus, which was big energy. And then there's a lot getting going this week. So we're here to talk about it. Ew. So yeah, you can settle in. We're going to chit chat. If you're seeing this video and it is November 11th, 2025, amazing. This is the energy that we're talking about. If it's that day or within the 7 days after, great. If you're seeing this after that point, at any point in the future, also great, because time isn't linear. So you can trust that these messages found you when they are meant to find you. And you can also trust yourself in what messages are meant for you. Okay. I encourage you to listen to your own intuition. I'll do the same. Take what is resonating with you. Sometimes, I had an amazing conversation Sunday, seeing someone I hadn't seen in 6 months. And 6 months ago, I gave them a reading. And they in turn gave me a reading. And then also gave me a different reading. I'll get into it. But I don't even remember their reading, but they told me that 6 months ago, it didn't really make sense. And more time had to play out, literally months and a whole series of events that this person regaled me with before the reading made sense. So that's also a possibility. But this is a general reading, so maybe not everything is supposed to make sense for you. We're talking about all the energies that are coming to this reading, okay? So, let it fall where it lands, right? Okay? Maybe it doesn't make sense now and it makes sense later. Or what makes sense now, and you can take that insight and information with you. That's all we can hope for, is that you get a little insight, a little clarity, whatever's happening, okay? You know your situation best. I don't know, all right? And I've been doing a lot of readings lately, so I don't know, okay? I just read what I see, okay? And you'll have to make sense of it from there. But anyway, yeah, I think that's it. Hopefully, you'll be a little entertained. You'll have some greater clarity walking out of this, or whatever, that's all really we can hope for. So, yeah, I think that's my little spiels. We'll talk about the astrology. We'll talk about the astrology, and then we're going to jump in with the things, with all of the things, the cards and the things. So what's happening? Well, just previous to this, by the way, and probably part of the reason why my videos didn't post from before, November 9th, we saw Mercury go retrograde. It's retrograding, I think it's starting in Sagittarius and then moving into Scorpio, because that's how backwards works. I don't know. Retrograde also is, in case you don't know what that means, a lot of people are like, oh, Mercury is retrograde. This is retrograde. What does that mean, actually? What it means is that from where we are on Earth, it looks like Mercury, or whatever planet we're talking about, it looks like it's moving backwards instead of moving forwards. But the thing is, that's just like the illusion from where we are. The planet's not actually moving backwards. Everything's continuing to move forward. I mean, in a circle, but you know, it continues to move in its loop. All right. It doesn't actually switch directions, although it looks like it from here. I don't know how that makes sense, because I'm not an astronomer, basically. I didn't go do that much school, but that's what it means. And when planets are going retrograde, that is all about reflection. I saw somebody post something. It's like everything with the reimagine, invest, redefine, you know, all those things, revisit, review. So that's retrograde. This retrograde is going to last through the 29th. So it's going to take us through to the rest of the month. 1 second. So, okay, great. Don't mind that little disruption there. I think that's going to be telling. Yeah, also interesting for me. Okay, where were we? This is also reminding me, the pause is reminding me that of this reading that I had. Have you ever had your Enneagram? Do you know your Enneagram? I didn't know what that was. Apparently I'm a 6. I don't know. And it's actually shifted quite a bit. We'll see. I hardly know anything about it. But I know enough. Do you know what I mean? I know enough. And then like now I'm getting confirmation about the stuff that I know enough about. Anyway, so I think there's something to that. Yes. Okay. So where were we? Right. We were talking about the astrology. I was talking about Mercury retrograde, taking us through to the end of the month. Bumps in the road. Okay. Things maybe have to be put on pause. Right? Like literally was just illustrated. And what else? Oh, the 11/11, because we're starting our week with 11/11. As far as what other astrology is happening, I don't really know too much. We'll have a new moon coming up soon. We'll figure it out as we go. But starting off the week with 11/11 is incredible. 11/11 is the numerology portal. I think it's kind of contested and sort of debated, and like maybe it's more of a new agey spiritual thing. But you know what? I mean, the energy's been put into it. So 11/11 representing new beginnings. 11/11 is like the Make-A-Wish. So it's a huge like manifestation day. You know, there's people out there that are going to be like, oh, here's the do's, here's the don'ts. Listen, you're right wherever you need to be. Okay. We all make choices, but you're making choices with whatever information you have to learn whatever next lessons you need to learn. Okay. So please don't stress too much about it. I used to stress a lot about that stuff. And like, you know what I mean? I want to be living a life where I have more space and sanctity around certain dates. But for now, Okay? Just keep doing what you're doing. Because if you're here, you're either moving in the right direction or you're finding the way in which to move, if that makes sense. Most likely. I won't say definitely. I'll say most likely. All right. So that's the week. The week is getting a strong start. So I think that's also interesting with Mercury retrograde and the 1111 portal. Maybe this is something about reviewing manifestations or hopes, wishes, things like that. This could be giving yourself a little bit of more space to prepare for whatever new beginning you're hoping to walk into. Yeah, those are kind of first thoughts. I don't really have much more than that. I didn't do too much research on anything this week, I'll be honest with you. So we're just going to like live through it and experience it. And let's get going with these tarot cards. Yeah. Tarot cards, Oracle. We're going to start with the Oracle. So we have an Oracle of Mystical Moments. Let's go ahead and see what kind of vibe, what's the theme, what are we working with over with this energy for the next 7 days? What can we get a read on right away? What's this? Oh. Okay, so we have Lorelei, which is such an interesting card. I don't remember too much about it. I remember a little bit about it. But just based on what we see, we have this mermaid here. She sits, her tail in the water, holding the string to this little sailboat. Obviously, she could make the waves. She could determine the path. Ooh, she could determine the path. Or the ride, or she's determined whether it is smooth sailing or stormy, choppy waters. It's up to her, right? Which is kind of what I remember about this card. So let's read what it says. Ooh, yes. Power, responsibility, fate, and grace. Okay. A mermaid sits on a rock and gazes towards the ocean. A small ship floats nearby, connected to her through a rope. She has the power to decide the destiny of the ship and the fate of the crew. With a flick of her wrist, she could toss the ship against the shore, or she could let it continue its journey. What will the mermaid decide to do? She has suffered great loss in her own life. Will she continue the cycle of pain, or will she allow healing and grace to calm the waters? So I have a feeling that, she suffered great loss in her own life. Will she continue the cycle of pain? This is sort of, I'm seeing the Mercury retrograde there for sure. And the power to decide. The power to decide, the power not to decide, or the power to not decide. Interesting. So that's where we're getting started. Let me look at her a little more. I'm seeing a lot of grays. There's some blue. She looks a little dissociated, if you see this. But also, this rope that she's holding is the actual anchor. So I'm wondering if there's something to that. Probably, because I noticed it. You know what I mean? And then the people on the sailboat are just kind of doing their thing. This card I always find fascinating because it's a little less obvious. You know what I mean? Some of them are a little less obvious in this deck. Okay, before we dive into the tarot, let's get some spicy oracle and see what else we can get out of this, we can garner from this. Is that right? Am I using that word right? Ooh, I don't know that this has ever happened before. We have triple Diablo. Okay. Spicy. Hot fuego. Okay. Okay, we have something maybe coming to a close. Maybe this is some sort of like cycle or loop, something that you'll be reflecting upon within this retrograde, certainly this week, getting the retrograde going. We have, okay, because we've been working with these ones a little bit. I feel like we have tattoos or it didn't happen. We have now you try, and we have and done. So this is making me feel like this is a real close to whatever that thing was that you have committed to in the past. Ooh, maybe we're talking about revisiting ideas, things you've put on the back burner, plans for something that you're manifesting, perhaps. Tattoos or it didn't happen. This is something that you've had to really think through because tattoos are permanent, you know. Or it didn't happen also is sort of implying like proof or recognition of some kind, perhaps. Now you try has been your actual like process of trial and error through this like learning curve of commitment. Okay. And done is like you're at the end of this chapter. And I feel like with Lorelei, power, grace, you know, perhaps this is talking about like old things, old patterns, old options coming up, and you're reviewing, reassessing what of these older commitments are still like, have you really been working on and processing that are now coming to a close? Does that make sense? It kind of makes sense to me. Okay. Yeah. Maybe you've been hemming and hawing over taking a step, taking a leap, committing to something. And now, in this review process, what have you, it's like you're being, you know, the universe is like presenting the same thing, and you are now done with whatever that was from before, and you're moving forward. With this sort of recognition, tattoos or it didn't happen, that like you've worked hard and like you know what you're doing. Okay, I don't know if that makes sense. All right, let's get into some tarot. So could we please have 3? There's 1. Let's do 2 more cards, please, just to show us what energy we're all going to be walking through. What are we working with over the next 7 days for everybody who's, ooh, there's 1. I like that. And there's another one. Okay. For everybody who's coming to see this over the next 7 days. Ow, 1 second. Okay. So here we go. Let's start with the shadow cards. These cards representing your subconscious. So this is the energy that's just below the surface. And this is what's running every aspect of your life at this moment in time. Okay. the Five of Wands here, there is some, perhaps this is like feelings of competition, or you've been challenged to grow through some, maybe this is like your relationship to competition, whatever it is. I feel like it's healing some challenge in moving, climbing upwards on this healing journey, or healing your feelings around competition, healing into a healthy sense of competition. I could see that one or both of those could be true for people. You've been doing this as well so that a divine strategy can come through for you with the Emperor here. This is someone that is like divinely inspired strategy, who has worked their way up, who has the experience, okay? Action oriented with all of this Mars, Aries energy. Although I will say with the Four of Swords, there's not a lot of rest that you're letting yourself do. This is restorative rest. I just watched a video recently on how actually important sleep is. You can never make it up. Like there's no like, oh, I'll sleep in tomorrow, because the damage that is done when you don't let yourself actually sleep. If you don't, I think it's like 4 REM cycles that you need to complete. And if you don't complete those 4 REM cycles, I don't know how long that takes. But if you don't let yourself complete that, you're actually really damaging your body in irreparable ways when you don't let yourself rest. Okay? And that's what's throwing you off balance. But I do see this energy here too with the Seven of Pentacles, is that you're still very much committed to the vision. Okay? The intention is being put in there. You know, maybe you're starting to see a little bit of growth here, but rest assured, because all of the growth is also been happening in the darkness, in the soil. Okay? And you know, I think you're ready to take off. I think the hindrance though, a lot of this is about the rest and feeling out of balance. You know, you're not as effective when you don't let yourself rest. And it's not as easy to heal when you don't let yourself rest either. But maybe that is all a part of it with this sense of competition. You know, I'm also sort of feeling like maybe if you feel like time is running out, or that you are missing out on something in some capacity, maybe that's also got you sort of like, yeah, you know, you're healing that aspect of yourself. Okay. Looking for more structure within this healing. It's a learning curve. It's a learning curve is what I feel like. Anyway, that's what's coming up underneath the surface. Does that make sense to you? Okay. As far as what we're working with through the next 7 days, this is so interesting, because we have the Page of Pentacles in the reverse position to get us started. So I definitely see this as like a bumpy sort of landing into the Mercury retrograde here. Maybe there's still a lot of confusion, or there's miscommunication or mixed messaging that's coming in with the Page of Swords in the reverse. Potentially like self-doubt, perhaps, because of this confusion, or because of this mixed messaging. Or maybe it's mixed messaging that you have already been dealing with. It's confusion that you've already been dealing with. It's perhaps that's it too. And recognizing that for what it is, but then we also have the Queen of Pentacles that's here with this card. And I think there's something to be said about embodying the power, embodying the grace, like we talked about with Lorelai here. Boop, look, they're like little mirrors. I mean, her eyes are closed, but, you know, and she's in the water and she's on the land. But there's a very serene energy here. This is super fertile. This is abundance and security. You know, you are already handling it all. You are already sitting in your power. I think maybe that's your mixed message. Maybe that's your mixed message. I think this is making sense for me. Is it making sense for you? And then the Page of Pentacles is also coming with this energy. So another page, which is a lot of new opportunity. And I see, this is an opportunity for real growth, new seed being planted. Like, despite whatever messages that may be conflicting with the reality here, I see this as you. And I see this as sort of like, well, I guess knights represent messengers. Pages sort of represent more, maybe like learning something new beginnings for sure, new path, perhaps. Here we also have all of these light bulbs. Okay, you see this? Whereas this is like very uplifted, sort of like all these ideas, bright ideas. Here, this is sort of like muddy and unclear about what are my options, or seeing options very clearly. And the Queen of Pentacles is also like looking at this as these cards are laid out. But she's got her eyes closed. So I think there's something here too about trusting despite whatever confusion or mixed messaging that you're getting. That you know what you're getting started. Or not letting that affect you, not letting that inhibit you from getting started anyway, because you're recognizing who you are in this process. Who you are as the Queen of Pentacles, and the Queen of Pentacles can, like, no problem get this planted and get it, growing and thriving and luscious. I mean, just look where she sits. Okay. Perhaps there's maybe there's a a sort of like someone you're looking up to in the process as well. You're sort of starting something new. You know who you are, but maybe you also are finding people to look towards to be like, you know, I'm still figuring out my thing, my voice, what I'm saying, but I know who I am. I know who the essence that I am embodying. Even if I am just like learning from the beginning. So there you go. That's what I've got. Give me 1 second. Okay. That one was a false alarm. But that's it. That's what I've got. Was this helpful? I hope this was helpful. I think it's going to be interesting. I'm not going to lie. I feel a little rusty with my general readings. Even though I did do them, I actually didn't complete them because my storage ran out while I was filming. So that's what happened there. But anyway, yeah. I hope this was helpful. Let me know if it was. Comment down below. Also like this video, subscribe, share. Okay. Whatever you want to do or don't. It doesn't really matter actually. And I just hope you got something out of this. That's my hope. I think I got something out of it. You know, maybe we need to take some more time to reflect on the message. Anyway, yeah, let me know. There's all kinds of information in the description box too if you'd like to connect with me in other ways. I do one-on-one readings. I also do, I just remembered something. Okay, hang on. Oh God. Oh my God. This used to happen when I would wait tables. I would like wake up the next day after I forgot if somebody would ask me something. They'd be like, can I get a side of ranch? And I'd be like, of course. And then I'd wake up the next day and be like, I never got that guy ranch. Fuck. That's happening to me in real time. Anyway, let me deal with that after I'm done here, okay? I do one-on-one readings. You can book me for parties. I do all kinds of other things as well. I'm on Instagram, okay?